Hello and welcome to On the Bench Extra, your weekly local football show. Joining me as always is my fellow presenter Tom Reed. Today we will be looking at North Ferriby's triumph in the FA Trophy. We'll also be previewing the upcoming games, looking back at the latest results, and we'll also hear from the Scunthorpe United management. So you can also get in touch with us on social media. Mr. Reed.
Mr. Hardy.
Hello. You were at quite a big game last week.
Yeah, it's quite big, I suppose, at Wembley, North Ferriby.
I mean, you're North Ferriby's new #1 fan. We've decided on that. How was the game as a whole?
Actually, the game was... The first 45 minutes were sort of as you expect. You know, Wrexham take the lead. Ferriby looked a bit shaky, a bit nervous, like the occasion got to him. But then the second half, Wrexham got a second goal, and Ferriby they turned up then. They started to play, and the game got exciting after about 70 minutes.
Just how good were Ferriby?
They were actually really good, taking off and away. It wasn't luck, they didn't win it on luck. They were really, really good towards the end of this game. They really got, found their feet and settled into it.
And obviously the drama of extra time, the drama of penalties, the drama of coming from 2 goals behind. What was the sort of atmosphere like in Ferriby camp with the fans?
I don't think any single fan in that stadium expected Ferriby to, especially come from behind. Maybe not win it in the first place, but 2-0 down, 20 minutes to go. Everyone thought, this is what we expected, a Wrexham win, quite routine. But, credit to Ferriby, I think, the team spirit to go on through extra time as well, and then penalties, that must have taken a lot.
How big was it for the club? Obviously, financially, you talked about the benefits of that on last week's show with Matt. How big is it for the club?
I don't think, I think some of the players were saying they don't quite realise how big the win is until afterwards when you're getting all the media attention, the radio coverage, you're making back page headlines in the national papers. It's huge.
We've seen that, haven't we? We've seen it on the national media covering the club and giving them a lot of praise and saying, look, this is how good football can be in, Conference North, that sort of level. So it can only be beneficial to the club, surely. Yeah,
great advert for non-league football as well as a whole. I mean, 50 grand in the grand scheme of things is not a massive amount, but to North Ferriby United, the level they play at, that's huge. That's a new training ground, new facilities, maybe a couple of new players, to improve your squad. It's huge.
Who was your standout player from the game?
That is quite simple. Jason St Just for me. All Ferriby players should hold their head high, but St Just, he was the one player creating things, and he's a top player, to be honest.
What was it? Was it his wing play?
Yeah, it was his wide play. That was the one piece of the field, that Ferriby were finding the space, and you thought, if something's going to happen, it's through St Just down this left-hand side, and then, rightly so, 2 assists.
And we saw some good goals as well. I mean, from the Wrexham side as well. There was some fantastic finishes.
Oh yeah, it's like, as you say, a FA Trophy final. You think, non-league football, it's not going to be amazing, but there was a great volley in there. There was a nice, side foot finish from in the 6-yard box. It's positioning, and they didn't look out of depth. This looked like league goals.
And atmosphere sounded pretty good as well. So all in all, fantastic day for North Ferriby.
Great occasion.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tom. Right, let's have a look at the latest set of results then. Scunthorpe took a first-minute lead at Notts County through Theo Robinson's debut goal. However, after going 2-1 down, the Iron gained a point at Meadow Lane thanks to Niall Canavan's 86th-minute equaliser. Grimsby are now a solitary point behind Barnet after they won 2-0 at Welling, after first-half goals from Ollie Palmer and Sean Pearson. Ex-Mariner Bradley Wood did his former employers a favour with a last-minute equaliser for Alfreton at home to Barnet. And as we've been discussing, North Ferriby beat Wrexham 5-4 on penalties to lift the FA Trophy in a memorable final. Right, we've talked about North Ferriby already, Reedy, so we're going to first of all focus on Scunthorpe. Now, the Scunthorpe versus Peterborough game hasn't been played as we're recording this, so we're going to talk about the Notts County result. Results of late, Scunthorpe not being great at all. The Notts County one, again, against a club that's sort of near them in the table.
Yeah, it's a tough one. That it was a must-win, I suppose, or was it a game you mustn't lose? I don't know. It's a tough one. That
it is difficult because obviously Notts County were a team. Start of the season, they started really, really well. They were pushing towards the playoffs. Now their recent form has sunk them down, and I believe the manager was Sean Derry, and I believe he's been sacked. So it was a game Scunthorpe might have been looking at, going away and getting all 3 points from it. A draw better than a loss, though.
Yeah, I think it definitely is better than that loss. We spoke to Robbins last week before that game, and he did say the last time they played County were 3rd or 4th, as you rightly said. And this time, they're below Scunthorpe, so their drop has been huge, even worse than Scunthorpe's in some way. So I think Robbins actually expected the 3 points there, but judging on his press conference before that game.
Yeah.
But again, the draw better than not picking up anything.
Exactly. Another positive was the debut goal for Theo Robinson, obviously who they've got in on loan. Can you see him being a success there?
Yeah, I think if he gets a good run in the team, Obviously, Robbins knows his quality better than we do. So if he does the right things with him, plays him in his right position, there's no reason why he can't go on and score a handful of goals between now and May.
And obviously there's other issues in terms of goal scoring. Do you think that's why they've brought him in? Because Madden's gone off the boil a little bit.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Madden's not we were bigging him up, if you like, a few weeks back. We was his biggest fan, and he's not really done it of late. I mean, I think we jinxed.
We've jinxed
as
him.
we do.
Another person we've jinxed, really. Fantastic. So that's Scunthorpe. Moving on to Grimsby then. A huge win at Welling. Where does it leave Grimsby in terms of promotion? What is going on? It's just been such a topsy-turvy season. Really.
Roller coaster of a season,
yeah.
It really is. This is the closest they've been in 5 seasons. Am I right? Yeah, pointing off top spot. I don't think they've been that close in the 5 seasons they've been in there. So it is the best chance they've ever had to get back into the Football League.
And how good was that Welling win?
Oh, fantastic. The performances might not be amazing. It might not be what the fans want to see or what Paul Ayres wants to see. But at the end of the day, I think now, the business end of the season, it's just getting the 3 points. And, they're doing that regular now.
And that goal from Bradley Wood as well.
Yeah, again, you need a bit of fortune, you need a bit of luck. And obviously old Woody there is...
Oh, Woody. Is that his nickname?
I don't know.
Cheers, Reedy. Thank you. I'm sure he'll be watching.
He's done him a favour.
Right, so obviously there's Grimsby's tussle with Barnet at the top continued last Saturday as the Mariners beat Welling 2-0. Here's the highlights from that game.
McCreth plays it back. Now it's Brown. Good ball. Finds Arnold. Brilliant. And Ollie Palmer is there again. Great play by Town. Great play indeed. Nathan Arnold found the space. The ball was fed through to him. Arnold put the ball to the edge of the 6-yard box where Palmer was steaming in, and there it was. Town take the lead, 1-0. LJL flicks it. Nathan Arnold steaming in. There's a free kick there, surely. Well, claiming for a penalty, the referee says no chance. Nothing doing, but Arnold came steaming in there from nowhere between the 2 players, and he managed to get his foot to it. Well, it looked to me as though he could have been fouled in the process. Disley does well, fighting the challenge off. Still Disley. Oh, tried to get Lewis, falls for Arnold. Arnold! That's a good save. And here we go again. Oh, it's in! I think it's Pearson this time. I think that was Pearson. Sure it was. Great corner this time. Found Pearson on the edge of the 6-yard box. Unmarked. And he makes no mistake from there. They're loving this support. Really is good away support. No doubt about it.
As we approach the business end of the season, managers are desperate for points, whether it's at the top or the bottom of the table. This week, we're going to be focusing on Mike Robbins, Scunthorpe manager. Obviously, we've alluded to the club earlier on and talked about the dip in form, Reedy. What are the plans now for Mike Robbins? How does he approach the remainder of the season?
I don't know. I really don't know.
That's why you've not got the job.
Yeah, that's why I'm not a football manager. I mean, is it a case of not losing games now? Just picking up a point every week if you can, or do you go for the 3 points? Because we expected them probably to be further away from them relegation places now. Maybe pushing for the playoffs. It's not quite happened that way. It's not gone that way. They've gone the other way to relegation. So is it now or never to get a win? It's
a tricky time for them because if you remember about a month back, we were talking about those games in hand that they had and how vital they were going to be, and there were fans that were saying, let's not be looking at relegation, let's look at the playoffs. And I mean, you look at it now and you think, it's completely ridiculous.
We said that. We said, look, they've got 2 games in hand over those around them. If they win those, they're 4 points off the playoffs. And no, that was all rosy, and now we look at it, we look at the table this weekend and it's not looking great, really. They need to start winning games, like we said, and they've not been doing that.
And obviously, yeah, they need to win the games. They look at the upcoming fixtures they've got after the Peterborough game. They've got MK Dons, Crawley, Port Vale, Colchester and Bradford. Crawley, Port Vale and Colchester are all bottom half of the table. So, winnable games, would you say?
I would say they are. But again, them teams themselves are needing the points. So they've still got things to play for. So they're not always that easy, them games. So I think a point's better than nothing.
Yeah, exactly that. And just looking, just quickly, they've conceded on average 1.5 goals per game this season. They've scored a lot, but that's the downfall.
Let's hope they don't concede half a goal this weekend then.
Yeah. That's a hard one to do, isn't it? Definitely. Thank you, Reedy. Right, our leading researcher, Greg, has got us at it again. Here is the first instalment of mine and Reedy's head-to-head. Oh, Slocum, Eddie Nolan, David Murphy, Niall Canavan, Callum Kennedy, Christian Ribeiro, Jimmy Ryan, Mark Duffy, Carl Hawley, Leon Clark, Mike Grella, Connor Jennings, well to beat that, Reedy?
I'll do very well to beat that.
Very challenging.
Yeah.
Very challenging indeed. Right, before we head to the break, here's this week's half-time teaser. Which Grimsby Town player has scored in 3 of the last 5 meetings with Gateshead? We'll see you after the break. Welcome back to Extra. The answer to this week's half-time teaser was Craig Van Disley, so well done if you got that one at home. Still to come on the show, we take a look at the upcoming Easter fixtures, and we also hear from the Scunthorpe management. But before all of that, here's the second instalment of mine and Reedy's head-to-head this week.
Bishop, Hawkridge, Sires, Slocum, Madden,
Back to normality. I bet you enjoyed it last week without me, didn't you?
I did say that to Matt. I went, when he comes on, I win.
Right, if he was playing along at home, the answers to that were Sam Slocum, Christian Ribeiro, David Murphy, Paul Reed, Tom Newey, Mark Duffy, Michael Collins, Jimmy Ryan, Anthony Ford, Matt Godden and Carl Hawley. If you got all of those, you are fantastically good. Right, moving on now then. We got the views of Scunthorpe United's management team this week.
Sam Slocum's back in training. He's looking okay. He couldn't play in the reserves yesterday because it wasn't 10 weeks yesterday, but it's 10 weeks today. So I'm hoping that he can take part fully from now on. We've got Neil Bishop's back running, so he's been out on the training field running today, which is great news. He probably needs a little bit longer. Well, definitely needs a little bit longer. We've got Dave Sires, who played another hour yesterday in the reserve game and scored another goal. So he's getting closer to a return. But again, probably too soon. And the balance we've got to get is to make sure that we don't bring them back too soon and they pick up another injury. So they can only do that with the information from the medical team and also from the players themselves. And once they're ready, they'll be back into the fold.
How important is it really to get that atmosphere jumping, feeding into the players?
It's massive, and I know we've got to. I always say it. We've got to give them something to feed off. But I want them to come in and I want them to get behind us 100%. Get behind the players. Make sure that they're. They know that they're being supported 100%. The players give us 100%. Sometimes it isn't great. Sometimes it's not good enough. Sometimes it is good enough, and I'm talking about portions of games. And the majority of the time they've put a decent performance in as well as giving us 100%. Now last week's game against Notts County was a decent game, and you wouldn't have thought either side was challenging or sort of trying to climb the way up and out of a bit of trouble, out of a spot of trouble. So, what we're looking for is that 100% support that I know they've given us, and just to maintain that. Sometimes there can be a few dissenting voices which can spread to the pitch, which can give them a little bit of unnecessary anxiety. We know where we are, we know what we've got to do. let's try and make it as easy and give ourselves the best opportunity of staying in the division rather than being counterproductive.
The views of Scunthorpe United there. The club, obviously, at the moment in a bit of a relegation dogfight. Reedy, the big question is, have they got the quality to stay up?
The big answer is yes. I think they do. You know, we've seen them this season, not so much lately, but mid-season, and they went on a good run of results, and Robins really turned them around, especially defensively. He made a point that the goal difference was terrible, and they're nearly back at, you know, breaking even, so to speak, you know, 0. So it's only a good thing. So I think that, yeah, I've got the quality to stay up.
How crucial are players like Paddy Madden going to be and Gary McSheffrey towards them being able to stay up?
Well, you need those lads to be on top form, basically week in, week out, because you need all your players to obviously be on top form to get the wins. But those players especially that can, you know, win games and change games. You know, your Madden need him for goals, McSheffrey for goals and assists, and you know, you need those players on top form.
And obviously Matt Robins lately, we talked about it earlier, he's not going to be too pleased with the latest set of results. So what does he need to do now to lift the club and move them away from the relegation zone?
I just think he needs to obviously, you know, get a win as soon as he can. I know it's only cliche, but if you get, you know, you draw your next game and you lose one and you draw, it becomes harder and harder. Just get the next win as soon as you can, and then I think the players will start to believe themselves as well. You know, we can still win games in this league. We're not either whipping boys. We might have been promoted, but you know, we've got the quality to stay in it.
Now, Greg, obviously, he's won for his stats, really, isn't he? He's produced a nice little table for us at the bottom of League One, based on results earlier on in the season and based on the fixtures that are coming up. Scunthorpe will finish 19th. Apparently, that's what Greg's saying. Well, Greg could be the new goldfish. Remember the predictor goldfish?
Yeah, the predictor fish. Yeah.
Maybe it could be Greg. So that's what he's saying at the moment. Scunthorpe, similar position to another of our local clubs, Hull, obviously in the Premier League, who are also fighting for their lives down there. Similarities between both of their seasons?
I would say so. Both teams have a real big task of staying in the relative divisions. Hull City definitely have the team to stay in the Premier League. You know, they've pumped money into that. Arguably, it is the best squad they've ever had. It's probably the best manager they've ever had, to be honest, experience-wise, from playing days as well. So, yeah, just as Scunthorpe have got a real good chance, Hull, you know, they've got every chance of staying in it as well.
You talked about money there. Scunthorpe have pumped in quite a bit of money, not just into playing staff, but into the plans for the new stadium and things as well. How do you think the chairman will be viewing it at the moment, where the club are?
I don't think he'll be happy seeing that table, you know, for obvious reasons. I think he's got a long-term plan with a new stadium and moving the club forward. You know, some management teams are just like, you know, if we get relegated, all right, we go down, we rebuild. I think Swan would be happy with that. I think, you know, stay in this league, we need to, because, you know, we've got plans going forward.
You've seen that with a new member of staff that's come onto the board as well from Notts County, and he said that he sees big plans for the club.
Yeah, so again, for Scunthorpe, they need to stay in League One.
Definitely, it's massive time for Scunthorpe, without a doubt. Thank you, Reedy. So then, moving on, let's have a look at the weekend's games. After the international break, Steve Bruce's Hull City side are back in action as they travel to Swansea. With Aston Villa's results picking up recently, Hull will be hoping for a positive result themselves. Scunthorpe face MK Dons at Stadium MK in desperate need of the points, with it becoming increasingly tight at the wrong end of the table. They won this fixture 1-0 last time out thanks to a Kyle Hawley goal. Grimsby travel to Alfreton backed by an army of 2,500 fans at the Impact Arena. The Mariners will be looking to break a club record by scoring in their 20 consecutive away league games. And with their FA Trophy win behind them, North Ferriby will be looking to finish their league campaign with a flourish. They face Harrogate Town this weekend. We'll start with Hull City, really, because they've not played in a long while. They're away at Swansea. That's a tricky tie, isn't it?
Yeah, Swansea started well. Got some good results, beat some big teams, if you like. But just they've fallen off it lately. They're not quite as strong as they was at the start of the season. Gary Monk's still doing a great job, so Steve Bruce needs to be better than Gary Monk, really, to win that game.
Swansea play some good football, attractive stuff. And if we look at previous record between the sides, they played 69 times in all competitions. Hull have won 24, Swansea 29. So in previous records, they don't come up on top. The last meeting of this fixture at the Liberty Stadium, it was Swansea 1, Hull City 1. Can you see another draw?
I can, to be honest. Yeah, it's got. Yeah, like I said to you, you know, Hull, they're fighting this relegation battle, so then any point's better than, you know, no points. So, you know, do they risk the win, you know, and risk losing as well, or you know, do they settle for the point? I think the point.
It's a tricky one because if you go all out against Swansea and it goes wrong, they will hammer you, if we've seen in the past. A nice little stat here. Dwayne Darby was the last Hull City player to score a hat-trick in this fixture when Hull City won 7-4 at Boothbury Park on 30th of August 97.
I thought you were going to say 1928 or
No,
something like that.
not quite that far back. So moving on to Scunthorpe then. MK Dons, who are a team that are looking to get promoted from League One. That's a tricky tie away there, Reedy.
Yeah, as we said, these games, it's about getting the next win, and it's not the ideal game to get that, really. I mean, you know, you could beat that. I guess it is an ideal game, really. You go and put yourself against MK Dons, and you can see where you're at in terms of quality against a team top in the league. If you really underperform, then you know you've got a long way to go. But if you can match them for 90 minutes, then Robins will be happy.
Definitely, and similarly to Swansea, from what I've seen of MK Dons this season, they're another team that plays some good football. But the last time they went there was the season Scunthorpe were relegated, and as we mentioned previously, Kyle Hawley scored the goal and they won 1-0. So anything can happen. In the last 4 meetings at Stadium MK, Scunthorpe have drawn 2 and won 2. So they've not got a bad record there, actually.
No, you're right. And again, I know Greg's loves his stats, but they don't mean everything. But I think it will be tough for Scunthorpe against MK Dons, I really do.
I agree with you there, Reedy. I think MK Dons will win 2-1 there. Moving to Grimsby then, the Mighty Mariners fans that we back in the team, obviously going to Alfreton. I mean, it's just crazy support, isn't it?
It's probably the best period of football of any season of the last 5 that Grimsby have had. You know, they look more likely than ever to go and win top spot. Now, I said to you, they probably won't do that. I thought the playoffs. But I think now, you know, playoffs are cemented in my eyes. You know, it'd be very odd if that, you know, they finish outside them. So I think now it's, yeah, they go to Alfreton. Most fans go in there, you know, they can win that.
They've obviously got to beat Gateshead as well, which will be a really tricky tie.
That's the one I think that they'll be targeting and planning for, obviously. You know, get Gateshead out of the way and then, you know, an afternoon training session for the Alfreton game and then go there.
Refreshed, hopefully.
Yeah, refreshed.
Grimsby have scored a minimum of 3 goals in 6 of the last 7 meetings with Alfreton. So we're hoping for a lot of goals. What can you see the score being, Reedy?
Well, Alfreton are a team fighting to stay in that division. You know, they're at the bottom sort of half of that league. So can Bradley Wood, you know, score?
Yeah, it's not going to be another 7-0 earlier this season.
No, can he score again? Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. And last of all, obviously, North Ferriby, the heroics. You know, the players might still be hungover for the Harrogate games. The last time they met, Harrogate, in this fixture, 2013, Harrogate won 5-0. Just a quick prediction for the score for that game.
5-0.
Another 5-0?
Yeah.
You're kidding?
4-0.
4-0?
Yeah.
That's not very positive, really, is it? North Ferriby fan, you're terrible. Right, thank you very much.
No 4-0 Ferriby. 4-0
Ferriby, okay, we'll take that. Right, unfortunately, that's all that we have time for this week. Thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget that you can see On the Bench Extra every Saturday at 10 a.m. on S3 TV. For all your other sports news, you can also watch On the Bench. This week it's Rach Chadwick, that's Tuesday at 8 o'clock on S3 TV as well. Thank you very much to my partner in crime, Mr. Tom Reed. Don't forget you can get in touch with us on social media as well. The details are on your screen now. Thank you very much for watching and goodbye.